So when I start off with Primero, I like to just see how his body's feeling laterally. It's harder for him to move off of the right leg or off the left leg to the right than it is the right leg off to the left. So I just kind of work on just how he's feeling when I first get on him. It's so important that we're able to deconstruct their body to reconstruct their body and have it ununited to be able to unite it. So when we need it, whether that's pretty much for any discipline, we can have access to each part of their body. So as you can see here, I'm just working on how he's feeling off of my leg. You can see he's better off the right leg moving to the left. Now if I get the haunches trailing a little bit, you'll see here coming up how I start to move the hind end independently and from the front end. Because if I can't get the hind end moving super easy and relaxed, then I'm not going to have the power that I need, and I'm not going to have the balance I need. So as you can see here, I'm working on his backup. I'm started working on backups in circles with him, so asking him to move the hind end while I'm backing up, then move the front end. When we get this down really nice, it just adds so much more flexibility and maneuverability for our horse, especially for jumpers. So I'm just asking him just to move backwards, forwards, move that inside hip now. I'm just going to ask him to move the inside hip and then stop him back. Now I'm just asking for the front end to move. Now you see how the hind end is rocking. My goal is to have that hind end not move at all. So now I'm just trying to pivot the front end around. So I'm just putting a little outside leg on, asking him to move the front end over. And you see how it's getting less, but how that hind end is just swinging a little bit. I want him to not move that there. That was better. I want him to not move that hind end at all. When I'm asking for that, I just want him to plant that hind end, just move the front end and the hind. Right now he's learning that he can deconstruct it and then reconstruct. So right there I just moved the inside hip and then rolled around. So this way I'm going to roll the inside hip now under, which lifts up the abdominal muscles, relaxing the back. And now I'm going to ask him just to move the front back over to the left and roll it across. Starts to open up the freedom of the shoulder, the scapula area. Starts to help those withers develop and help those back muscles stay soft while using themselves correctly. These are all scientifically proven exercises that we want to do with our horse in order to get them to feel more freedom of the shoulder, more freedom of the hind end. Because just like with us, if we can't use our body independently, especially as an athlete, we're not going to be able to use it together. If you do yoga or you do any exercising at all, you understand the importance of being able to have the freedom throughout our body. So just a little bit of trot work there. Ask him to come roll across the front end. I'm trying to keep that hind end still. See how he kind of swings it a little bit. So I want those haunches to stay still. And just roll the front end around, and we're going to go right back into a trot this direction. So I'm getting his mind used to being focused on me and not knowing what might be coming next, but being really focused on me. So I'm going to do some trot work to the left here. And just working on this then helps him to balance all those movements with moving the front end over, moving the hind over, help us to be able to then slow down the trot. Right there you can see I slowed down the trot, and then to be able to pick up more trot. But all these movements help the horse to be able to find more balance when we're riding them. Since he has a real difficult time with that left circle, and the balance is really important to help him to find that freedom of the shoulder and the hind end and the rib cage, and being able to track around the rib cage and be able to separate his head, whole neck, shoulders, rib cage, hind end. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just ask him to back up, roll across this way. So that's his harder side when you do that. I'm going to go back into a trot. So I'm just trying to really change some things up. So we go into the canter here. And I don't want to do it. I mean, he's doing great at the canter, so I just want to kind of show you how he's getting more and more balance. We're going to transition down to the trot here in a minute. We're going to transition, I think, right here. We're going to go into the trot. And then back to walk. Now I'm going from the canter to the trot to the walk to the halt on as light a rein as I can. Now we're going to rotate him around this way here. I want that front end to really be free. I want that left shoulder to be a little bit more free. And so we're going to go back into the canter now on this side here. Actually, I don't know if we're doing that first. We're doing trot. So we're going to do some trot work on this side. There we go. Into the canter now. So this side you can see is much more balanced for him now. He really, getting the access and the freedom to his body helps him so much here. So now I can bring the circle out a little wider. I can bring it in a little closer. So see, you can see that I've got him in a canter that's getting him to sit back on his hind a little bit more. That's why I'm slowing this canter down. I just want it to be a nice, slower canter where he's having to use himself. And as you notice when he comes around the left here, he's really stepping under with that inside hip. So he's in balance, stepping under and pushing off with that inside hip to help strengthen the hind end and all the muscles in his hind, but also keeping the back nice and soft. Remember, when we get off our horse's back, I posted another video, and I'll send it to you, of what our horse's back should look like when we get off of them and how relaxed the muscles should be. So that's very important that we're looking at when we are riding our horses, because if we don't ride our horses properly, and this isn't me, this is just all the data that I've collected. If we don't ride them properly when we get off their back, they might be tense in the back or sore, and we don't want that. We want our back muscles on our horse all the way from the withers to the hind end to be soft and spongy. So now we're just doing some trot work in this direction here, going down from the canter, and just working on our balance exercises. But you can see how much more free he is in the shoulders here. Go back up into the canter on this side. And having him just really enjoy and go around, whether it's with collection or more on a loose rein. I want him to be riding through my seat, not through my hands. Remember, all of our riding we want to be through our seat. And the bit is just for fine tuning on them. So we're just going to do a little bit more canter here. Back to the trot. So see how I could slow that trot down, but I went into that trot transition all through my seat, all of my aids when it comes to, now I'm going to do a little figure 8 here. So all of the transitions I want to do through my seat, not through my hands like we just talked about. Bring that circle in a little bit closer here. Remember, circles are an amazing thing for horses to help them balance and to help them find themselves and use themselves properly. So we want our horses to be active when we want them to be active, like he is right now. We want him to be relaxed and happy to be going around. Once we see that happiness through the back, especially as you can see with him right now, you get a lot more impulsion in his body. So come down to a walk. That was on the buckle. Ask him to come to a stop now. Now I'm just going to have some fun with him. He's such a good boy, and he's learning to just be really relaxed. So I figure I'll stand up on him, see how he does. I'm going to do this a couple times with him. Stand up, kind of throw my, clap for him. Put my hands in the air. And then just you can tell he's completely content and chilling. So we just went from that canter work to the trot work to the walk. A few steps of walk to this. Sit back down on him. Gonna get back up one more time on him. And then what I love to do is I love to have some fun, slide off their hind end. So I'm gonna stand up one more time, do some more clapping. I don't want to see any part of him really change his head height or him getting nervous at all, which you can see that he's not. So now I'm going to just hang out, now sit down on him. Now I'm going to sit over the back of the saddle, and I'm going to slide off his hind end, and I'm going to walk back towards the camera, show you a little bit of his connection to wanting to walk with me here, and then teaching him some backup steps at liberty. So I hope you have enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Everybody take care.
Back.